London, 1888. Gas lamps flicker in the fog. Footsteps echo down narrow streets. And somewhere in the darkness, a killer is watching. Tonight, we return to Bucks Paranormal Podcast, Dark Reality, Episode 4. And we're travelling back to Victorian London. To a time of poverty, fear and violence. And to a name that has outlived every other killer in history. A name whispered more than a century later. A name that still has no fear. This is Jack the Ripper.
London, England, July 1888. 2 months before the horrific Whitechapel killing spree began, an American named Francis Tumblety arrived in the city, although this was not his first trip to London. For more than a decade, Tumblety had sold a number of medicinal remedies in both the United States and England, and had also claimed to be a doctor and treated numerous patients, in spite of the fact that he was not a licensed physician and had no formal medical training. And there are those who believe that this dishonest, self-proclaimed doctor was, in fact, Jack the Ripper.
In order to understand Jack the Ripper, you have to understand Whitechapel. In 1888, this part of East London was overcrowded, filthy, and desperately poor. Thousands lived crammed into lodging houses. Unemployment was sky high. Alcoholism was rampant. Women had few options, really. Many turned to prostitution just to survive. Violence was common. Death was ordinary, which made Whitechapel the perfect hunting ground. Not because no one cared, but because there were simply too many victims and too few protections. Jack the Ripper is believed to have murdered at least 5 women, known as the Canonical Five. Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly. Each was murdered between August and November 1888. All of them were killed late at night. All of them were attacked in public or semi-public spaces. And all of them suffered horrific injuries. Their throats were cut. Their bodies were mutilated. And with each murder, the violence escalated. What terrified the police wasn't just the brutality, it was the precision. Some of the victims were mutilated in ways that suggested anatomical knowledge. The organs were removed cleanly. Incisions were deliberate. Now this raised disturbing questions. Was Jack the Ripper a butcher? A surgeon? Was he a medical student? Or simply someone who practiced? The truth is, no one knows. And that uncertainty is part of what makes this case endure. Then came along the letters. Dozens were sent to the police and newspapers. Most of them were fake. But one changed everything. We call it the Dear Boss letter. Now this mocked the police. It named the killer. And it promised more blood. It was signed Jack the Ripper. That name caught fire. Another letter followed. The infamous From Hell letter. Sent with half a human kidney. The kidney matched that of a victim. For the first time, the police believed they were hearing from the killer himself. Or were they? Even today, the experts disagree. Over the years, dozens of suspects have been named. Here are a few of the most famous, with no conclusions claimed. Montague John Druitt, a barrister and a school teacher who drowned shortly after the murders stopped. Aaron Kosminski, a Polish immigrant with documented mental illness who lived in Whitechapel. George Chapman, a convicted murderer who poisoned multiple of his wives. Walter Sickert, an artist accused decades later through modern theories. Each suspect fits some of the evidence. None of them fit all of it. There is no DNA. There's no witnesses. There's no confession. Jack the Ripper remains legally unidentified. On November 9th, 1888, Mary Jane Kelly was murdered in her room at Miller's Court. Unlike the others, the killing happened indoors. And what the police found was beyond anything seen before. The mutilation was extreme. Investigators were shaken. Many believe this was Jack's final murder. Now, why did he stop? Was he arrested for another crime? Did he die? Did he leave London? Again, nobody knows. Now, Victorian policing was limited. There was no forensic science, no CCTV, just no databases in general. Whitechapel was chaotic. Witnesses were just unreliable. Fear distorted memory. And perhaps most importantly, Jack the Ripper did not stand out. He just looked like everyone else. Jack the Ripper became more than a killer. He became a legend. Books, films, tours, conspiracies. But beneath the myth were real women. And they died violently and anonymously. Their names matter more than this. And the fact that he was never caught still continues to unsettle us. Because unresolved evil lingers. Some people believe Jack the Ripper vanished. Others believe he was just protected. And some believe something darker was at play. But one thing is for certain. Jack the Ripper was not supernatural. He did not disappear into thin air. He just blended back into society. And that's maybe the most frightening ending of all. Now, next time on Bucks Paranormal Podcast, Dark Reality, we'll explore another case where the line between myth and reality is dangerously thin. Until then, keep your eyes open. Always question the stories. And remember, some legends are born from blood.